21 most beautiful black actresses who are unrecognizable today. They look so sad. They were once celebrated as some of the most beautiful and unforgettable black women in Hollywood, but decades can change everything. From Pam Grier's fearless screen presence to Halle Berry's historic rise, Angela Bassett's enduring power and Cicely Tyson's extraordinary legacy, these women defined beauty across generations. Yet behind those glamorous photographs were battles with illness, career setbacks, personal heartbreak, and an industry often obsessed with youth. Some continued shining into their 60s and 70s, while others sadly never reached old age. So which transformation will surprise you the most? Stay with us until the end, subscribe to Golden Black Legends, and tell us in the comments which legendary actress has always been your favorite. Angela Bassett. Angela Bassett has spent decades proving that Hollywood beauty can mature without losing its power. Born in 1958, she built her reputation through discipline and commanding performances rather than overnight fame. After memorable appearances in Boys and the Hood and Malcolm X, her defining breakthrough came with What's Love Got to Do With It in 1993. Playing Tina Turner demanded an extraordinary physical and emotional transformation, earning Bassett a Golden Globe and her first Academy Award nomination. Instead of fading when Hollywood shifted toward younger faces, Bassett expanded her career. Waiting to Exhale, How Stella Got Her Groove Back, American Horror Story, and 911 demonstrated remarkable versatility. She moved between romance, drama, horror, and television while maintaining the elegance and commanding presence that had distinguished her from the beginning. Decades after her breakthrough, Marvel introduced Bassett to another generation as Queen Ramonda in Black Panther. Her deeply emotional performance in Black Panther: Wakanda Forever earned her a second Oscar nomination, making her the first performer from a Marvel Studios movie nominated for an Acting Academy Award. In 2024, she received an honorary Academy Award recognizing her extraordinary contribution to cinema. Now 67, in 2026, Bassett naturally looks different from the woman audiences watched 3 decades ago, but describing that transformation as decline would miss the story entirely. She remains active, glamorous, and professionally relevant in an industry historically unforgiving toward aging actresses. The young performer who once electrified audiences as Tina Turner has become one of Hollywood's most respected veterans. Time changed Angela Bassett, but it also gave her something youth alone never could experience: authority, endurance, and a legacy that continues to grow. Pam Grier. Pam Grier was redefining the image of the black female movie star before many of today's biggest actresses had even begun their careers. During the early 1970s, Hollywood rarely placed black women at the center of action stories. Then Grier arrived with beauty, confidence, toughness, and undeniable screen presence. Coffee in 1973 and Foxy Brown in 1974 transformed her into one of the era's most recognizable stars. Her characters fought criminals, confronted corrupt men, and controlled their own stories at a time when black actresses were rarely given that opportunity. Grier became closely associated with the blaxploitation era, but her importance extended beyond the genre. As Hollywood tastes changed, major leading roles became less frequent, yet she continued working across film and television rather than allowing one decade to define her. Then came an extraordinary second act. Quentin Tarantino cast her as the title character in Jackie Brown in 1997. Nearly 50 at the time, Grier delivered one of her most acclaimed performances and received a Golden Globe nomination. Her real life included an even greater challenge. Grier has publicly discussed being diagnosed with cervical cancer in 1988. After receiving an alarming prognosis, she underwent treatment and survived. By 2026, Pam Grier is 77, more than half a century removed from the young star of Coffee. Her appearance has naturally evolved, but her cultural importance has become clearer with time. Greer survived serious illness, changing Hollywood fashions and an industry that historically offered black women limited opportunities. What remains is far greater than youthful beauty. She helped create the blueprint for generations of fearless black women who followed her onto the screen. Nia Long. Nia Long became one of the defining faces of black cinema in the 1990s, carrying a combination of warmth, confidence, and natural beauty that made her instantly recognizable. Born in 1970, she gained early attention on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, but films such as Boys, The Hood, Friday, and especially Love Jones established her as a major presence. As Nina Mosley in Love Jones, Long helped create a romantic character whose intelligence and independence made her memorable far beyond her appearance. As Hollywood changed, Long avoided being confined to one period. She appeared in The Best Man, Big Mama's House, Boiler Room, and Are We There Yet later, returning as Jordan Armstrong in The Best Man Holiday and The Best Man The Final Chapters. Her career became a story of endurance, particularly in an industry where black actresses have historically faced narrower opportunities as they grow older. Her personal life attracted intense attention in 2022 when her longtime partner, NBA coach Ime Udoka, became involved in a highly publicized workplace controversy. Their relationship subsequently ended. Long later spoke publicly about navigating a difficult period, but claims that the experience destroyed her health or caused her appearance to deteriorate would be speculation rather than established fact. Now 55 in 2026, Nia Long naturally looks different from the young actress audiences first encountered more than 3 decades ago. Yet she remains closely associated with an era of black film that continues to inspire nostalgia. Her transformation is not simply physical, it reflects motherhood, professional longevity, personal upheaval, and survival in a constantly changing business. For viewers who remember Nina Mosley, Nia Long represents something especially powerful, a familiar face that matured alongside the audience that first fell in love with her. Diahann Carroll. Long before Hollywood seriously discussed representation, Diahann Carroll was already breaking barriers. Born in 1935, Carroll possessed the elegance of a classic movie star, but her importance went much deeper than beauty. She appeared opposite major performers in films such as Carmen Jones and Porgy and Bess, building a career during an era when black actresses faced severe limitations in the roles available to them. Her greatest television breakthrough arrived with Julia in 1968. Carroll portrayed Julia Baker, a widowed nurse raising her son, becoming the first black woman to star in a non-stereotypical leading role in a network television series. The achievement made her a cultural pioneer. She later earned an Academy Award nomination for Best Actress for Claudine in 1974, proving that her sophistication could coexist with emotional realism and dramatic strength. Another generation discovered Carroll through Dynasty, where she played the glamorous Dominique Devereaux. Carroll understood exactly what that role represented: a wealthy, powerful black woman entering a television world traditionally dominated by white characters. Away from the screen, she faced serious health challenges. Carroll was diagnosed with breast cancer in the 1990s, underwent treatment, and subsequently became an advocate for screening and early detection. Diahann Carroll died on October 4, 2019, at age 84 after cancer returned. By then, more than 6 decades had passed since her earliest screen appearances. Naturally, the youthful performer of Carmen Jones had changed dramatically, but age never erased the sophistication that defined her public image. Carroll's story deserves more than a simple then and now. Every line on her face represented years in which she watched Hollywood slowly move toward doors she had helped open. Her legacy survives in generations of black actresses who inherited opportunities that were far rarer when Diahann Carroll began. Sanaa Lathan. Sanaa Lathan emerged during a remarkable period for black cinema. But it was Love and Basketball in 2000 that permanently connected her with audiences. Born in 1971, Lathan portrayed Monica Wright, an ambitious basketball player whose love for the sport becomes inseparable from her complicated relationship with Quincy McCall. The performance required vulnerability, athletic commitment, and emotional depth, transforming Monica into one of the most beloved characters in modern Black romantic cinema. Yet Lathan was never dependent on a single film. She had already appeared in The Best Man and The Wood, and afterward expanded her resume through Brown Sugar Alien vs. Predator, Something New, and The Family That Prays. Her choices allowed her to move between romance, comedy, action, thriller, television, and voice performance rather than remaining trapped as the romantic heroine audiences expected. As she entered her 40s and 50s, Lathan continued evolving. She famously shaved her head for her role in Nappily Ever After, embracing a dramatic visual transformation that complemented the movie's exploration of identity, beauty standards, and self-acceptance. She later moved behind the camera, making her feature directing debut with On the Come Up in 2022. Now 54 in 2026, Lathan has spent more than 25 years navigating an industry where actresses are constantly judged against photographs of their younger selves. She has naturally matured, but there is no credible reason to turn that process into a story about deterioration or secret cosmetic procedures. The more interesting transformation happened professionally. The actress, once remembered primarily as Monica Wright, became a veteran performer and director capable of controlling stories from both sides of the camera. For audiences who grew up with Love and Basketball, seeing Sanaa Lathan today is less a reminder of lost youth than of how much life can happen across 25 extraordinary years. Vivica A. Fox. Vivica A. Fox seemed almost impossible to ignore during her breakthrough years. Born in 1964, she combined glamour with an energetic screen personality that allowed her to move comfortably between action comedy, romance, and drama. Her career exploded in 1996 when she appeared in two dramatically different hits, Independence Day and Set It Off. As Jasmine Dubrow in the former, she reached a massive mainstream audience. As Frankie Sutton in Set It Off, she became part of one of the most memorable female ensembles in Black cinema. Fox continued working relentlessly. Soul Food, Why Do Fools Fall in Love? Two Can Play That Game, and Quentin Tarantino's Kill Bill Vol. 1 demonstrated her range. Rather than disappearing when leading roles became less frequent, she embraced television independent films, producing, hosting, and reality programming, creating the kind of career longevity that is often overlooked when success is measured only through theatrical blockbusters. Her private life also became tabloid material. Fox married singer Christopher Harvest in 1998, with the marriage ending in divorce in 2002. Her subsequent relationship with rapper 50 Cent received enormous media attention and continued generating headlines long after their breakup. But those relationships should not be used as unsupported explanations for physical changes or emotional decline. Now 62 in 2026, Fox has been in the entertainment business for decades. Comparing her current appearance with photographs from Independence Day inevitably reveals the passage of time, but it also reveals survival. She remained visible through changing trends, changing roles, and an industry that can quickly discard actresses once they no longer fit its preferred image of youth. Vivica A. Fox did something more difficult than simply becoming famous. She stayed in the game. Phylicia Rashad. Phylicia Rashad became a television icon by embodying intelligence, elegance, and quiet authority at a time when mainstream American television offered far too few multidimensional portrayals of Black women. Born in 1948, she had already built experience on stage before The Cosby Show transformed her career in 1984. As attorney, Claire Huxtable Rashad portrayed a successful professional, devoted mother, and equal partner in her marriage. Her sophisticated style and commanding presence made Claire one of television's most admired characters throughout the show's 8-season run. But Rashad's career was never limited to one famous sitcom. theater remained central to her artistic identity. In 2004, her performance in A Raisin in the Sun made history when she became the first Black actress to win the Tony Award for Best Actress in a Play. Decades later, she won another Tony for Skeleton Crew in 2022. She also reached younger audiences through the Creed films as Mary Ann Creed, demonstrating remarkable longevity across television, theater, and cinema. Her personal life included 3 marriages that ended in divorce, but there is no credible basis for claiming those experiences caused her appearance or health to deteriorate. Likewise, rumors about cosmetic procedures should not be presented as established facts. Aging itself does not require a dramatic explanation. Now 78 in 2026. Rashad naturally looks different from the woman millions remember as Claire Huxtable, yet the dignity and distinctive voice remain immediately recognizable. More than 40 years after that breakthrough, she is no longer simply remembered as one of television's great mothers. She has become an elder stateswoman of American theater and Black entertainment, a woman whose beauty matured while her artistic legacy became considerably larger. Halle Berry. Halle Berry's rise represented a significant moment in Hollywood history. Born in 1966, she moved from beauty pageants into acting and gradually fought her way towards substantial roles. Early appearances in Jungle Fever, Boomerang, and The Flintstones increased her visibility, while introducing Dorothy Dandridge demonstrated her dramatic ability and earned major television awards. By the beginning of the 2000s, Berry had become one of Hollywood's most recognizable Black actresses. Then came Monsters Ball. In 2002, Berry became the first Black woman to win the Academy Award for Best Actress, delivering an emotional acceptance speech that reflected the historical significance of the moment. Her career subsequently included Storm in the X-Men franchise, Jinx in Die Another Day, Gothica, and John Wick Chapter 3. Not every project succeeded, but Berry repeatedly remained visible in an industry where Black actresses have historically struggled to receive consistent leading opportunities. Her private life was often scrutinized just as intensely as her movies. Berry went through 3 divorces and has spoken publicly about difficult relationships, motherhood, health, and aging. She has also lived with diabetes since her 20s, although conflicting descriptions of its classification mean it is safer not to repeat simplified claims that she was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes in 2007. By August 2026, Berry is 59 and approaching her 60th birthday. The youthful pageant contestant and 1990s screen sensation has naturally matured, yet she continues acting, producing, and directing after making her directorial debut with Bruised. Her greatest transformation cannot be measured by photographs. Halle Berry went from competing for opportunities to occupying a permanent place in Oscar history. Hollywood's standards of beauty will continue changing. What happened on that Academy Awards stage in 2002 cannot be erased. Lynn Whitfield. Lynn Whitfield possesses the kind of elegance that can initially disguise just how formidable she is as an actress. Born in 1953, she began building her career through television and supporting roles before receiving the performance that dramatically changed how audiences saw her. In HBO's The Josephine Baker Story in 1991, Whitfield portrayed the legendary entertainer across different stages of her turbulent life, combining glamour with emotional intensity. The performance earned Whitfield a Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Miniseries or Special. Rather than becoming defined by Josephine Baker, Whitfield continued creating memorable women. She appeared in a thin line between Love and Hate, Eve's Bayou, Stepmom, Head of State, and Medea's Family Reunion. In Eve's Bayou particularly, she brought complexity to Rose Batiste, a wife and mother confronting painful truths within her family. Later owns Greenleaf introduced her to another generation as Lady May Greenleaf, a commanding matriarch whose ambition, faith, secrets, and family loyalty gave Whitfield rich dramatic material. Her career is especially significant because Hollywood has historically offered fewer substantial roles to Black women as they age. Whitfield continued finding characters whose maturity was part of their authority rather than something that needed to be hidden. There is therefore no need to manufacture cosmetic surgery stories or portray natural aging as a personal downfall. Now 73 in 2026, Whitfield has spent more than 4 decades on screen. Naturally, the woman audiences see today has changed from the actress who transformed herself into Josephine Baker 35 years ago. Yet her poise remains unmistakable, for Whitfield aging did not close the curtain. It allowed her to graduate from glamorous leading woman to powerful matriarch and gave audiences decades of performances showing that elegance can deepen rather than disappear with time. Gabrielle Union entered Hollywood during the 1990s and soon became one of the most recognizable black actresses of her generation. Born in 1972, she appeared in television series before gaining attention through films such as She's All That and 10 Things I Hate About You. Her breakthrough arrived with Bring It On in 2000. As ISIS captain of the East Compton Clovers Union transformed what could have been a supporting rival into a confident leader who refused to let another team take credit for her squad's work. Union continued building momentum through Deliver Us from Eva Bad Boys to Think Like a Man and Think Like a Man Too. Television provided another major chapter when she starred as Mary Jane Paul in Being Mary Jane, earning praise for portraying a successful black professional whose career achievements existed alongside complicated relationships and personal vulnerabilities. She later expanded further into producing, writing, advocacy, and entrepreneurship. Away from acting, Union has been unusually open about difficult experiences in her life. She has discussed fertility struggles, multiple miscarriages, adenomyosis, and the emotional journey that preceded the birth of her daughter Kavya via surrogate in 2018 with husband Dwayne Wade. Those documented experiences provide meaningful context without resorting to rumors about cosmetic procedures or unsupported claims that stress somehow destroyed her appearance. Now 53 in 2026, Union remains active in entertainment and public life more than 3 decades after her earliest television work. Naturally, she has matured since Bring It On, but the transformation is larger than appearance. The young actress, once fighting to establish herself in Hollywood, became a producer, author, advocate, wife, and mother. Gabrielle Union's story demonstrates that a then and now comparison becomes far more interesting when we look beyond the face and consider everything a person lived through between those 2 photographs. Sherry Hadley became unforgettable to millions of moviegoers through a role that combined romance, independence, and effortless elegance. Born in 1964, she began as a model before moving into acting, appearing on television shows including The Cosby Show. Her defining breakthrough arrived in 1988 with Coming to America. As Lisa McDowell, Hadley played the intelligent queenswoman who captures the heart of Prince Akeem without knowing his true identity. Opposite Eddie Murphy, she became one of the most recognizable black romantic leads of the late 1980s. After that, enormous success. Hadley continued working rather than chasing constant blockbuster exposure. She appeared in The Preacher's Wife and built an extensive television resume that included All My Children, The Bold and the Beautiful House, and The Haves and the Have-Nots. Her personal life included a marriage to actor and rapper Christopher Play Martin. They divorced in the mid-1990s and share a son. There is no reliable basis for turning that divorce into a story about her beauty supposedly fading or claiming cosmetic procedures without evidence. More than 3 decades after audiences first met Lisa McDowell, Hadley received a wonderful opportunity to revisit the character in Coming to America in 2021. This time, Lisa was no longer the young woman working at McDowell's. She was Queen of Zamunda, allowing viewers to see the character mature alongside the actress who created her. Now 62 in 2026. Hadley naturally looks different from her 1988 self. Yet her return demonstrated something more meaningful than any before and after comparison. The youthful romantic heroine had become a poised screen veteran, and the warmth that made Lisa memorable survived the passage of more than 30 years. Cicely Tyson. Cicely Tyson never allowed Hollywood's narrow definition of beauty to determine the kind of woman she would portray. Born in 1924, Tyson initially worked as a model, but acting became the vehicle through which she challenged stereotypes surrounding black women. Rather than accepting roles she considered degrading, she became known for choosing characters with dignity, complexity, and historical significance, even when those decisions meant fewer opportunities. Her breakthrough film performance in Sounder earned her an Academy Award nomination for Best Actress. Then came the autobiography of Miss Jane Pittman in 1974, where Tyson portrayed a black woman across an extraordinary span of life from youth into extreme old age. The performance earned her 2 Emmy Awards and became one of television's landmark portrayals. She later appeared in Roots, The Women of Brewster Place, Fried Green Tomatoes, Diary of a Mad Black Woman, The Help, and How to Get Away with Murder. Remarkably, Tyson's career did not simply survive old age, it flourished within it. At 88, she won the Tony Award for Best Actress in a Play for The Trip to Bountiful. In 2018, she received an honorary Academy Award, becoming the first black woman to receive that particular honor. Cicely Tyson died on January 28, 2021 at age 96, just days after the publication of her memoir, Just As I Am. Her death ended a career spanning more than 7 decades. Looking from Tyson's early modeling photographs to her final public appearances reveals an enormous physical transformation, but reducing those images to lost youth would misunderstand her legacy. Tyson grew older in full public view and transformed age itself into part of her power. She left Hollywood not as a forgotten beauty, but as one of the most respected black actresses in American history. Taraji P. Henson. Taraji P. Henson's path to stardom was not an overnight Hollywood fairy tale. Born in 1970, she arrived in Los Angeles determined to build an acting career while raising her son. Years of television appearances and supporting parts followed before audiences increasingly recognized the intensity, humor, and vulnerability she could bring to the screen. Baby Boy in 2001 became an important breakthrough, while Hustle and Flow further demonstrated that Henson could command emotionally complicated material. Her international profile changed dramatically with The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. Playing Queenie earned Henson an Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actress in 2009. She continued through films including Think Like a Man, Hidden Figures, and The Best of Enemies, but television produced perhaps her most culturally recognizable character. As Cookie Lyon in Empire, Henson combined extravagant fashion, brutal honesty, humor, ambition, and maternal ferocity. The performance earned her a Golden Globe and multiple Emmy nominations. Henson has also spoken publicly about mental health and pay inequality in Hollywood, particularly the financial realities confronting black actresses even after achieving major success. Instead of inventing stories about aging, destroying her confidence, her own public comments provide a much stronger narrative, maintaining a lengthy career required repeatedly fighting to receive appropriate value for her work. Now 55 in 2026. Henson has naturally matured since audiences first encountered her in Baby Boy. Yet she remains active and recognizable with The Color Purple, adding another acclaimed performance to her resume. Her journey demonstrates why photographs tell only part of a then and now story. Behind the changing face is a woman who went from struggling for opportunities to becoming an Oscar-nominated actress, Golden Globe winner, producer, author, and outspoken advocate for greater fairness in entertainment. Jasmine Guy. For viewers who grew up with A Different World, Jasmine Guy will forever carry a little of Whitley Gilbert with her. Born in 1962, Guy was trained as a dancer before acting brought her widespread recognition. When Whitley emerged on A Different World, what began as a supporting character developed into one of the sitcom's defining personalities. Southern, sophisticated, dramatic, privileged, and often hilariously self-assured, Whitley could easily have become a caricature. Guy instead gave her vulnerability and growth. The series became particularly important within Black television culture because it portrayed life at the fictional, historically Black Hillman College, while exploring relationships, race-class politics, and adulthood. Guy's chemistry with Dean Hardison, who played Dwayne Wayne, created one of the era's most beloved television romances. Her work earned multiple NAACP Image Awards and made her a recognizable star far beyond the show. After A Different World ended in 1993, Guy continued acting across television, theater, and film rather than disappearing as nostalgia sometimes suggests. Her credits included Harlem Nights, Dead Like Me, The Vampire Diaries, Grey's Anatomy, and numerous stage productions. She also worked as a director, singer, dancer, and educator, demonstrating that Whitley represented only one chapter of a much broader artistic life. Now 64, in 2026. Guy naturally looks different from the young woman who walked through Hillman College nearly 4 decades ago. But judging her story purely through physical change ignores what those decades contained. Jasmine Guy matured alongside the viewers who once watched Whitley struggle toward adulthood. The youthful sitcom star became a veteran performer whose influence remains deeply connected to an era when A Different World showed millions of viewers images of Black college life rarely given such prominence on American television. Jada Pinkett Smith. Jada Pinkett Smith entered the public eye with an intensity that immediately separated her from conventional Hollywood ingenues. Born in 1971, she gained early recognition as Lena James on A Different World before moving into films including Menace to Society, Jason's Lyric, The Nutty Professor, and Set It Off. Her role as Stoney in Set It Off remains especially significant, placing her at the center of a Black female-led crime drama that became a lasting cultural favorite. Her career later expanded through Scream 2, Ali, The Matrix, sequels, Collateral, Madagascar, and Girls Trip. Meanwhile, her 1997 marriage to Will Smith made them one of Hollywood's most closely watched couples. That visibility eventually brought enormous scrutiny. Jada later revealed that she and Will had been living separate lives since 2016, despite remaining legally married. She also publicly discussed her relationship with August Alsina during a period of separation, making accuracy important when describing the widely sensationalized entanglement. Another visible transformation came through her experience with alopecia. Pinkett Smith has spoken openly about hair loss, eventually embracing a shaved head rather than continually hiding the condition. The subject became globally discussed after the controversial incident involving Will Smith and Chris Rock at the 2022 Academy Awards, although Jada's health condition should never be reduced to that single event. Now 54, in 2026, Pinkett Smith has spent more than 3 decades under unusually intense public observation. Naturally, she no longer resembles the young actress from A Different World exactly, but her changing appearance also reflects deliberate choices and a documented medical condition, not evidence of some invented Hollywood collapse. Her story remains complicated, sometimes controversial, but undeniably enduring, from Baltimore arts student to actress, musician, producer, talk show host, author, wife, mother, and one of the most discussed Black women in modern entertainment. Vonetta McGee. Vonetta McGee possessed the kind of beauty and screen presence that made audiences notice her immediately. Yet her career unfolded during an era when Black actresses were rarely offered the same opportunities as their white counterparts. Born in 1945, McGee began appearing in European films before returning to the United States, where the expanding Black cinema movement of the 1970s created new possibilities. She became especially recognizable through films such as Blackula, Hammershaft, In Africa, and Thomasine and Bushrod, establishing herself as one of the era's prominent Black leading women. McGee resisted being defined solely by the blaxploitation label, recognizing that it could minimize the range and professionalism of black performers. Her talent reached beyond those productions. She appeared opposite Clint Eastwood in The Iger Sanction and continued working in television and film, including Starsky and Hutch, Different Strokes, and Cagney and Lacey. But as the 1970s ended, the abundance of leading opportunities that had briefly existed for black actresses narrowed considerably. Unlike sensational accounts suggesting McGee spent her later years forgotten and desperately lonely, there is no need to invent tragedy. She married actor Carl Lumbly in 1987, and they had a son. Her acting appearances became less frequent, but her importance to the generation of black actresses who emerged during the 1970s remained. Vonetta McGee died on July 9, 2010 at age 65 after suffering cardiac arrest. More than 15 years later, her work continues to be rediscovered by audiences exploring black cinema history. Her youthful beauty was undeniable, but that should never overshadow the larger story. McGee belonged to a generation of women who fought to be seen as actresses first, rather than stereotypes created by an industry still struggling to recognize their full potential. Vanessa Williams experienced one of the most dramatic public rises, falls, and comebacks in American entertainment. Born in 1963, she made history in 1983 when she became the first black woman crowned Miss America. Her victory should have represented an extraordinary beginning, but less than a year later, unauthorized nude photographs taken before the competition were published, creating a national scandal. Under enormous pressure, Williams resigned her title in 1984. At only 21, many assumed her public career was finished. Instead, Williams rebuilt everything. She established herself as a successful recording artist, earning major hits, including Save the Best for Last, while simultaneously developing a substantial acting career. Films such as Eraser and Soul Food expanded her profile, and Broadway demonstrated another dimension of her talent. Years later, television brought one of her most memorable roles, the glamorous, ruthless, and hilarious Wilhelmina Slater on Ugly Betty. The performance earned Williams multiple Emmy nominations and introduced her to an entirely new generation. Her longevity continued through Desperate Housewives stage productions, television projects, music, and other creative work. In 2015, the Miss America organization publicly apologized to Williams for the way the controversy surrounding her resignation had been handled decades earlier, a remarkable full-circle moment more than 30 years after the scandal. Now 63 in 2026, Williams naturally looks different from the 20-year-old beauty queen photographed in the early 1980s. But few then and now stories demonstrate resilience more clearly. Vanessa Williams went from making history to experiencing public humiliation before rebuilding herself as a singer, actress, Broadway performer, and television star. Time did not erase her beauty. It revealed something far harder to achieve: survival after being told that one scandal had permanently defined her future. Lela Rochon became one of the unforgettable faces of 1990s black cinema, particularly after portraying Robin Stokes in Waiting to Exhale. Born in 1964, Rochon had already accumulated television and film experience before the 1995 adaptation of Terry McMillan's novel placed her alongside Whitney Houston, Angela Bassett, and Loretta Devine. The movie became a cultural landmark, presenting the friendships, heartbreaks, ambitions, and romantic struggles of four black women with a prominence rarely seen in mainstream Hollywood at the time. Rochon's portrayal of Robin combined glamour with vulnerability. She subsequently appeared in films including The Chamber, gang-related Knockoff, and Why Do Fools Fall in Love. Yet her career eventually became less visible than those of some of her Waiting to Exhale co-stars. That change should not automatically be interpreted as failure. Hollywood careers rarely move in straight lines, particularly for black actresses navigating an industry historically limited in the roles it offered women as they aged. Rochon married director Antoine Fuqua in 1999, and they have 2 children together. Their marriage became the subject of intense media attention in 2019 after Fuqua was photographed kissing Nicole Murphy in Italy. The incident generated widespread speculation, but claims that the controversy caused Rochon's appearance to change or destroyed her emotionally go beyond what can responsibly be established. Now 62, in 2026. Rochon naturally looks different from the radiant young actress audiences remember from Waiting to Exhale more than 30 years ago, but comparing photographs tells only the most superficial part of her journey. Robin Stokes remains deeply connected to a defining era of black romantic drama. Leela Rochon may no longer occupy Hollywood's spotlight as intensely as she once did, but her place within that era and within a film generations of viewers continue to revisit has never disappeared. Jackée Harry. Jackée Harry turned glamour comic timing and a larger-than-life personality into one of the most memorable careers in black television. Born in 1956, she worked as a teacher before pursuing acting professionally, eventually finding the role that changed everything on NBC's 227. As Sandra Clark, Harry was flirtatious, fashionable, confident, and hilariously dramatic. Her performance became so popular that in 1987 she won the Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Supporting Actress in a comedy series, becoming the first black woman to win in that category. Harry refused to let Sandra become her only identity. During the 1990s, she reached another generation as Lisa Landry on Sister Sister, playing the energetic adoptive mother of Tia Mowry's character. The series ran for 6 seasons and became a beloved part of black television history. Harry continued appearing across sitcoms, films, stage productions, and reality television, demonstrating an ability to remain recognizable long after many performers from her generation had disappeared from mainstream screens. Her later career included recurring television work and a prominent role as Paulina Price on Days of Our Lives. Rather than inventing stories about cosmetic procedures, loneliness, or declining beauty, Harry's documented longevity provides the stronger narrative. She has remained remarkably open, humorous, and comfortable, acknowledging the passage of time. Now, 69 in 2026, Harry naturally looks different from the glamorous Sandra Clark audiences met 4 decades ago. But the voice, comic confidence, and personality remain unmistakable. For Jackée Harry, aging never erased the qualities that made her famous. The young sitcom scene stealer became a veteran entertainer who survived changing television trends and continued working into her late 60s. Her transformation is ultimately not about losing youth, it is about lasting long enough for several generations to know exactly who Jackée is. Tamara Dobson. Tamara Dobson did not need decades of starring roles to become unforgettable. Standing approximately 6 feet 2 inches tall, with striking features and a commanding fashion model presence, she looked unlike almost anyone else appearing on American movie screens during the early 1970s. Born in 1947, Dobson initially worked as a model before Hollywood offered the role that would permanently define her screen legacy, Cleopatra Jones. Released in 1973, Cleopatra Jones presented Dobson as a glamorous federal agent battling drug traffickers while wearing elaborate outfits and confronting enemies with remarkable confidence. At a time when black women were rarely positioned as action heroes, the character was groundbreaking. Dobson returned for Cleopatra Jones and the Casino of Gold in 1975, reinforcing her status as one of the distinctive black female action figures of that decade. Her acting career, however, did not develop into the long Hollywood run that her early visibility might have suggested. Dobson appeared in additional films and television projects before eventually withdrawing from entertainment. She was later diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, a serious neurological disease that affected her health. That documented struggle is significant enough without adding unsupported stories about loneliness, abandonment, or Hollywood destroying her emotionally. Tamara Dobson died on October 2, 2006 at age 59. Reports indicated that complications involving multiple sclerosis and pneumonia were associated with her final illness. Nearly 20 years after her death, Dobson remains inseparable from Cleopatra Jones. Her life illustrates how cultural influence cannot always be measured by the number of movies someone made. The glamorous model audiences first saw in magazines became a towering black action heroine at a moment when such images were exceptionally rare. Her time in the spotlight was relatively brief, but the image she created survived far longer than the era that produced it. Regina Hall. Regina Hall's journey is unusual because some of her greatest success arrived after an age when Hollywood traditionally begins reducing opportunities for actresses. Born in 1970, Hall entered acting professionally relatively late and gained wider attention through The Best Man in 1999. But her breakthrough into mainstream comedy came 1 year later with Scary Movie. As Brenda Meeks, Hall transformed what could have been a disposable supporting character into one of the franchise's funniest personalities, returning for multiple sequels and building an enthusiastic following. Rather than becoming trapped in parody films, Hall steadily expanded her range. She appeared in Love and Basketball, Paid in Full, Think Like a Man, About Last Night, and The Best Man Holiday. Comedy remained one of her greatest strengths, but Hall increasingly demonstrated that she could handle emotionally complicated material without losing the natural timing that first made audiences notice her. A major career milestone arrived with Support the Girls in 2018. Hall's performance as Lisa Conroy earned widespread critical acclaim and made her the first black woman to win the New York Film Critics Circle Award for Best Actress. Around the same period, Girls Trip became a major commercial success, with Hall starring alongside Queen Latifah, Jada Pinkett Smith, and Tiffany Haddish. She later appeared in projects including 9 Perfect Strangers and Honk for Jesus, Save Your Soul. Now 55 in 2026, Hall has naturally matured since audiences first watched Brenda screaming her way through Scary Movie. Yet, something interesting happened. As the years passed, her career became richer rather than smaller. Regina Hall's story challenges the idea that an actress's most important years must happen in her 20s. She entered her 40s and 50s with stronger dramatic opportunities, greater industry respect, and decades of experience behind her, proving that sometimes the most meaningful transformation is not what time changes on a face, but what it adds to a career. Time changes every face, but it can never erase a legacy. From Angela Bassett and Pam Grier to Diahann Carroll Sicily, Tyson Halle Berry, and the remarkable women we've remembered today, each journey proves that beauty was only one part of their story. Some broke barriers when Hollywood offered black actresses few opportunities. Some survived personal and professional challenges, and others continued shining long after their first breakthrough. But now we want to hear from you. Which of these legendary women has changed the most over the years? And who do you believe remains the most unforgettable? Share your choice and your favorite movie or performance in the comments below. Subscribe to Golden Black Legends for more stories celebrating the unforgettable stars, struggles, and legacies of black entertainment.